The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I can be heard here every Friday at 3 o'clock and sometimes on weekends. And if you miss an episode, you can always catch me on Spotify or Apple, or go to my website at themainstreetcode.com, or you can always reach me on the phone at 631-647-4694. When we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we work with hundreds of advisors across the United States, attorneys, accountants, and other financial professionals who seek us out for our expertise in life insurance, annuities, disability, and long-term care, and properly positioning the right product and the right thing for you, whether you're buying any of these products. We're completely independent, so we're not, ingratiated to work with any one company. We work with all the companies, and we have contracts with all the companies, so we can give you a non-biased opinion and make sure that you have the best quality things for what we talk about. On many of our shows, we talk about working with other professionals and forming a professional team for you, for your financial needs, whether it be accounting, legal. And today, we're going to talk to a managing director of Webster Bank and good friend, Steve Frisenda. Say hello, Steve.
Hi, Neil. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming today. So, a managing director of Webster Bank. Now, there's been a lot of turbulence in the banking market. And there's been a lot in the news with Signature and Republic Bank, which are both local banks. And I know you focus mainly on the businesses, correct?
That is correct.
And I can tell you from personal experience, and you can also go into why you want a relationship at a bank, somebody like Steve. From my own personal experience, I can look at, my wife has had an account at Suffolk County National Local Bank, which got taken over by People's Bank, which is a big bank. And now it's M&T Bank in the period of last couple years. And I remember back in the day, I had an account at Exeter Bank, and they got taken over by North Fork Bank, and then North Fork Bank sold out to Capital One. And what happens in all these transitions is you lose that banking relationship. Now, how important, if you're a business, and I can give you a million reasons why, but in your words, why is it important to have a banking relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And there certainly has been a lot of mergers and acquisitions over the last few years, and a lot more recently. I think one of the things that I hear often from anyone I talk to is they want that relationship, whether it be them walking into a branch location or having to reach out to somebody. It's important to know who to go to, when to go to them, and that person can then go back on to do what's really important to them and what they enjoy doing, where the banker that they had reached out to and they have the relationship can work on their need behind the scenes while they're, running their business or running their personal life.
Yeah, that's huge. So I know this happened to me, and it happened to some attorneys I know. There was a major bank, one of the largest banks in the United States, several years ago. Maybe it's about not that long ago, but there was a whole know your customer thing. And this particular bank where I operate my business, all of a sudden shut my accounts down for this whole know your customer thing because they didn't have a zip code. I don't even know what it was. And then what happened when they did that, they didn't tell me they were doing it. And I wrote checks, and I found out the first check I wrote to myself as part of my payroll into another bank, they bounced it. Then that bank bounced all my checks.
Yikes.
Put me into a frenzy, all because they didn't check off a form. And the biggest problem was I had lost contact with a personal relationship where this could have been easily fixed, or I could have gotten a phone call or something, and this never would have happened. So the importance of having a bank, and I have an attorney who had about 18 escrow accounts for different people who had the same thing happen to him. And I've heard this horror story from this particular bank, and I don't want to say the name. I still have an account there. But these are the kind of horror stories that happen in everyday thing if you don't have a relationship. So as a business, I made a conscious decision. I have 2 banks I work with for my business. I've actually diversified my banking, but in both banks, I have relationships with people, and I think that's so important. And I just wanted to give that example because, what's the what if? The what if. So
yeah, that seems like a terrible situation and unfortunate. But the one thing that we always talk about is relationship and not being transactional. We want to be there through the good times and the bad times. And even recently, we've seen some bad times. We had the pandemic, which is 3 years ago now at this point. It was important at that time to have a relationship because there was a lot of uncertainty. People were nervous, people were worried. Having a banker that you could reach out to and you have a relationship with and say, this is what's going on. And myself as a banker, we were getting information in drips and drabs. So we were just constantly communicating. And, to have those open lines of communication in any relationship is extremely important to a successful, relationship.
And I've seen, we have businesses that work with Main Street Planning Group that, do several $1 million of business, and they want to do a wire transfer or something they don't do every day, and they're calling an 800 number and going to the big bank. And, I always liked the local bank because of the relationships, but, we're in a different world. Now, a lot of people, and I know this bank very well, Webster Bank, it's been a big New England bank, and they may not know the name Webster Bank. And it's not about the name of the bank, it's about the name of your relationship. But tell us a little bit about Webster Bank and their depth, and it's a pretty good sized banking operation.
Absolutely. So Webster Bank was traditionally from Connecticut up to Boston.
Right, that's where I know them from.
Yeah. February of last year, they had a merger of equals with Sterling National Bank.
Gotcha.
And the lineage of Sterling had acquired Astoria Federal Savings,
which is
a
huge.
Few years before
Right.
there. So
wow.
We have a good footprint on Long Island, North Shore, South Shore, from Patchogue west. I support 3 local branches as long as business development across all of Long Island and the boroughs and into the city. We're a full-service commercial bank. We have a lot to offer. We customize products and services based on that individual needs. And what is very important there is we are actually customizing. So I learn about a person's business and their passions and their future plans. Mm-hmm. And I can customize and get aggressive with pricings to win the business and make sure they have a relationship intact that is aligned with their needs and their future plans.
Right. So pricing means transactions for checks, for business checks, online work. Give me some of the other things that maybe you guys do that are special to a business.
Yeah, so the era that we're in now, everything's become more and more digital. So there's actually less people walking into a bank. So we try to accommodate and create a bank within your own office. So if you need to send wire transfers from your office, if you need to deposit checks from your office, if you need to print official checks, if you're an attorney, those are all things that we can accommodate. Fraud mitigation services. Fraud is a very
That's big.
prevalent thing nowadays, and we have a lot of different areas where we can assist in mitigating fraud, as something along the lines of 60% of business owners will experience that now.
Right. Well, it's all interesting stuff, and we have to go to a break, and you're listening to Steve Frisenda and the Main Street Code for Financial Success. How can I get a hold of you, Steve?
My cell phone, 631-681-0493.
Steve is your personal business banker. We're going to be right back right after this, a few short minutes. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock, and we have with us Steven Frisenda with Webster Bank. He is a managing director for business banking. And Steve, what is your phone number again?
It is 631-681-0493.
What I love about Steve and what we talked about before the break is having that relationship. Steve will give you his cell phone number because he wants you to call if you have a business and you need somebody to call at a bank that can help you with your issues and make sure you get the best rates for your deposits and all those good things. You want that personal relationship, and Steve is here to give that to you, and that's what I love about Steve. So, Steve, one of the things I also wanted to ask you is how do you work with other professionals? How do other professionals play into what you do? And I know we're part of some groups together and this and that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so every professional that I work with is key to a potential relationship. I always press upon the fact that having these trusted advisors that have specialties, CPAs, insurance professionals like yourself, and attorneys are key to success of one's business, and having everyone aligned with what your future plans are. That will be the key to success.
It's a really big deal, and I do appreciate. And another reason I wanted to bring you on here is that you started a 501(c) charity, and you're going to have this huge golf outing. We'll see how huge it is, and many celebrities will be there, possibly myself. I'm sure I'll be there at least for dinner. I'm not a big golfer. On August 21st, and that's the Harrison Trail. And where's this golf outing?
So this is at Windwatch Golf and Country Club in Hauppauge.
Okay. It's terrific. So they're still taking foursomes and dinner and lunch sponsors, and it's a big deal. And Harrison Trails was started by Steve and his wife, and this might be uncomfortable. And if you want to share your story about how this came about, and I think it will help a lot of other people understand who you are and what this is all about. So
yeah, absolutely, and thank you. A few years ago, my wife and I and our family joined an unfortunate group of people who've lost a child. Our story is our son was unfortunately passed away as a result from a car accident in August of 21. So we decided to create a legacy for him however we could. And we had an idea of creating a golf outing. I actually stole the idea from an uncle of mine who unfortunately lost his brother.
Terrible.
And they ran a very successful outing for 10 years. And we're hoping to run this for 10 years, maybe longer. 10 years would be when he would be graduating high school. So Harrison's Trail, we're not exactly sure what it's going to evolve to. Currently, our goal is to fund a local scholarship at the Sachem School District in his name, the Harrison C. Frisenda Memorial Scholarship. And then on top of that, we're going to give money to other local nonprofits. This year's main recipient is Horseability, which is a phenomenal nonprofit. They work with children and adults with special needs, providing equine therapy, serving over 300 people per week. And they do unbelievable work.
And have you worked with them?
I have. I've visited their campus, which is unbelievably beautiful. They have something like 20 acres in Old Westbury. It's a very tranquil place.
Yeah, and to lose a young child like that. How old was he? He was like 5, right?
No, he was 7. He was 7. He would be 9 now.
I know how devastating it is, and coming back and securing another job and moving life forward is a huge deal, and I give you credos for it's tough. I really feel for you, and I'm really excited to talk about this and promoting this and helping you and your family, and I hope it's fulfilling. I mean, I know who you are. It's great stuff. So
yeah, we're excited, and we're off to a good start. We have a little bit over 100 golfers, about 50 dinner guests.
Wow,
lots of sponsors, tee signs. We could always use more. We have some more space for golfers and dinner guests. So
and who do they call to join this outing?
Easiest way is to reach out to me directly. I'll certainly give my number again,
Sure.
631-681-0493. Or you could email harrisonstrail@gmail.com. We will be securing a website, harrisonstrail.org,
Great.
and getting that up in the near future.
Excellent. Very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's August 21st. And where is it? At
Windwatch Golf and Country Club in Hauppauge.
Interesting. Terrific. So you're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success, and I'm with Steven Frisenda, and I did want to talk about this outing, and I did want to talk about what Steve did as a managing director for business banking at Webster Bank. There's some Webster banks right here in Lake Ronkonkoma. Where's the locations? In Patchogue?
Patchogue, the closest one to where we are right now, there's actually a few in Patchogue that would be very close, and then up 454 in Hauppauge.
And Steve, what sets you apart from other bankers?
Certainly, so my experience is lengthy in banking in general and in business banking, but what I love about Webster Bank is we have autonomy to really learn about our customers and then customize a product suite to help them achieve their goals. Currently, I recently opened a money market account for somebody with a very significant rate, more than double what they were receiving, and we were able to customize a package for them with treasury management products, so they could send wires from their office, they could deposit checks at their office, which just creates a little convenience for them, so they can spend less time working on banking, more time working on their business, which is what's most important to them.
Oh, that's most important to me. It's another, when you have a business, there are many assets to running a business. It's not just you got to be a salesman, you got to be a manager, you got to have a bookkeeper. If not a bookkeeper, you're doing it yourselves. You got to have a bank. There's so many facets. You have to market, you have to, there's 50 assets. So anytime I can take one of those steps at no cost to me and have somebody by my side who's watching my buck back, and especially watching my bank accounts, that's huge. And I can tell you from personal experience, unbelievable. And no matter where you bank, it's not the size of the bank. Even though Webster's a huge bank, it's the size of the relationship. And banks have changed over and over, and I like to follow the relationship, not the bank, so that I know that the services that I need. And I mentioned it early in the show, but I remember when I was working with Exeter Bank, at the time I was an import-exporter, and they had an import-export department. And I'm very good friends with the gentleman who ran that department, still to this day. We go fishing together every year.
Nice.
And he has been on, when North Fork took them over, they said, oh, we're not going to do import-export anymore. So all of a sudden he was out of a job, but then I was out of a relationship to do trade finance with foreign countries. And he was invaluable to me. So even though I had this local bank, all of a sudden that whole relationship had to move to another bank only because it wasn't providing the services I needed as a business.
Yeah.
So you're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. You can reach me at 631-647-4694 for all of your insurance needs. Please give me a call, 631-647-4694. Visit me at themainstreetcode.com. And if you'd like to get a hold of Steven Frisenda, give me your number one more time, Steve.
631-681-0493. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.